Max Shultz, ladies and gentlemen.
All right, thank you all for sticking it out. I appreciate each and every one of you. You're far back, which means you're afraid of me. That's okay. I work in a pizza shop. A little bit about me. I work in a pizza shop, which means that I am poor, but have a car. It's a weird place to be. I deliver pizza for a living, and if you've ever delivered pizza for a living, you know that typically those shops are run by a lot of Greek people. And you'd think that I would have picked up like some terminology over the years, and I haven't, except one word, which is malaka. I don't know if anybody here is familiar with that term. Okay, fantastic. I was taught that it meant jerk off, in the sense of like, fuck you, you jerk off, or something like that. And then I switched jobs, and somebody at my new job told me, you're close, but that's not quite the English translation. What it translates to actually is, quote, the #1 jerk off. And they use it as an insult, which is weird, because that's like getting in a fight with somebody at your job and being like, fuck you, you masturbate better than anybody I know. Which is, there's a weird insult. That implies, one, that like you are aware of it, like you know that like Jim masturbates better than you, and that it's like it's a thing to like embarrass him, I guess, in front of workers, that like, I know, I've seen it. It's weird, and it sticks with me, and I have to impose it on strangers. At my job, I work with also a lot of conservative people. I know I'm not that. And the most conservative guy I work with begged the question, what would you do if you found out your daughter had an OnlyFans? And he's the kind of conservative we can all like agree to dislike. He hates gay people, like he would disown his son and things like that. We don't like him. And then he followed up by saying, my daughter would never have an OnlyFans. And I wanted to be like, of course she would. Like, you're the guy she'd rebel against. Of course that would happen. And then it came to my turn to answer the question. And I think I answered correctly by saying, I would support my daughter's decision, but I wouldn't want to know anything about it. I'm glad she's making a living and not living under my roof. But over there, like, I don't want to know. And then Sage, our 17-year-old dishwasher, his real name, came up and said, I would subscribe. And then he follows it with, it's kind of like a lemonade stand. You'd want to buy the first cup. No, Sage, it's not like a lemonade stand. If my child has a lemonade stand, I will be a proud father to buy the first cup. If my child has an OnlyFans and I receive the first nude photo, I'll kill myself. And then I approached him and I said, hey, can I use this in a bit on stage? And he said, of course you can, but you should know, it's not a joke, it's how I really feel. And it was at that moment that I decided that I don't think Sage should grow up to have children. But I also don't think that the guy that hates gay people should have kids. So really what I'm saying is that I'm the only fit father at my job, which is a problem because I'm not in shape, as you can see, and I don't have kids, so there's just an issue at my job with children. I mentioned that I deliver pizza for a living. And I'm poor. I also go to the laundromat a lot, which means I'm poor and dirty. And I broke the cardinal rule of going to the laundromat recently, which is you're supposed to thoroughly examine the inside of the machine before you throw your clothes in. I thought I had done that, but when I pulled my clothes out of the washer, out came a human tooth. Yeah, that's the right reaction. But like I used what I think is pretty sound logic. I cleaned the clothes, therefore I cleaned the tooth, so I picked it up. And it wasn't mine, I checked. It didn't look familiar. So I did what I think is the only logical move. I put it back on top of the washing machine because I think somebody might come back for it. When I went back home and I told my brother and my girlfriend about that, my girlfriend came at me and said, what do you mean you put it on top of the washing machine? That could have been a necklace. What is right? And I love her to death. I love her with all my heart, but that's bonkers. Like, that's crazy. And she said, I have a human tooth necklace that I paid $30 for, and I don't know whose tooth that is. And I said, that's nuts, honey. Like, I don't carry around a thumb or like a rib or a toe around my neck. And like, for somebody I don't know who it is, like, that's crazy. I don't agree with it. But if you want a tooth at Marshall Laundry in Haverhill, there might be a tooth sitting next to you. I mentioned that I'm not conservative, I'm very liberal, but I have some friends who are very conservative. One of them is named Bill, that is his real name. And Bill says to me about twice a month, unprovoked, and I don't really know if this is political or not, But he'll say to me something along the lines of, Max, you know, 9/11 was a tragedy. Many lives lost, horrible day, awful, awful. But it was a beautiful day outside. And then he just goes into like the next conversation. It's almost like a catchphrase, but it's too long to be a catchphrase. But it's like Bill remembers 9/11 by the weather, which is not how anyone ever remembers something that happened 20 plus years ago, let alone a significant event. It's like Bill's like, man, that day was beautiful outside. It was so memorable until it wasn't, and then it became memorable other ways. I don't know, it's just a thing he says, and I feel like I need to tell strangers about it. Didn't mean to drop that. I'm Max Shultz, thank you for hanging out.